I have been watching Jacob Hawthorne's storyline unfold over the past few weeks, and I have to admit, I am completely captivated and deeply terrified for him. The trauma from the plasma ring sting and the devastating loss of Derek Baldwin has completely shattered the man we once knew. Jacob is no longer just a dedicated police officer. He is a man consumed by a terrifying, all-encompassing obsession with avenging Derek. And based on what we are seeing now, his actions are spiraling so far out of control that I genuinely fear there is no coming back for him. Let us start by breaking down that absolute disaster of a commendation ceremony. The Hawthorne family gathered to celebrate Jacob's supposed heroism, but what should have been a moment of pride quickly morphed into a psychological horror show. As I watched the scene unfold, I could feel the suffocating tension radiating off the screen. The entire precinct was there, clapping and cheering for the man who brought down a major piece of the black market plasma ring. But Jacob was not hearing applause. Because of his severe PTSD, every single clap of hands echoed in his mind as a deafening gunshot. I found myself holding my breath as the camera zoomed in on Jacob's panicked, sweat-drenched face. He was completely trapped in his own mind, reliving the exact moment Derek took that fatal bullet for him. The sensory overload was brilliantly portrayed, but it was also incredibly painful to witness. This is a man drowning in survivor's guilt, constantly reminded that the medal being pinned to his chest was paid for with his best friend's blood. So this makes me wonder, how long can someone endure that level of psychological torture before they completely snap? Well, we did not have to wait long to find out. The tension finally shattered when Detective Marcel Malone approached Jacob. Marcel, likely just trying to lighten the heavy mood, offered Jacob a congratulatory gift accompanied by a lighthearted joke. In any normal circumstance, this would have been a moment of camaraderie. But Jacob's reaction was explosive. He completely lost it, lashing out at Marcel with a visceral, unhinged anger that left everyone in the room stunned into silence. It was Police Chief Elon Hawthorne who had to quickly step in, physically and verbally de-escalating the situation. Elon reminded Jacob, and perhaps the entire room, that Marcel was just teasing and that the gesture was meant as a genuine compliment. But looking at Jacob's wild, defensive eyes, it was clear that he perceived everything and everyone as a threat. His hypervigilance is off the charts. He is a walking powder keg, and Marcel's innocent joke was the spark that almost blew the entire precinct apart. But that is not all, and sadly, the commendation incident was just the tip of the iceberg. The true terror of Jacob's mental state was revealed during his solitary night patrols. I have to say, the cinematography during these night scenes is phenomenal, painting Fairmont Crest as a shadowy, dangerous labyrinth that perfectly mirrors Jacob's fractured mind. Driven by his obsession to catch the Impaler, the elusive crime boss who is ultimately responsible for Derek's death, Jacob has been prowling the streets like a predator hunting for prey. During one of these lonely, rain-slicked patrols, the unthinkable almost happened. Jacob spotted a figure in the shadows. His paranoid, trauma-addled brain immediately convinced him that this was the Impaler. Without hesitation, Jacob drew his weapon. He was moments away from pulling the trigger, moments away from crossing a line that would destroy his life forever. But it was not the Impaler. It was an innocent civilian. When I watched that scene, my heart dropped into my stomach. The sheer horror of how close Jacob came to murdering an innocent person is staggering. He is so blinded by grief and a desperate need for vengeance that he can no longer distinguish between reality and his own terrifying delusions. He is actively becoming a danger to the very public he swore an oath to protect. Of course, a near tragedy of this magnitude could not stay hidden for long. Police Chief Elon Hawthorne found out about the incident, and the resulting confrontation between the two men was easily one of the most explosive and emotionally devastating scenes of the entire season. Elon was absolutely furious, and rightfully so. He cornered Jacob, laying down the law with a harshness we rarely see from him. Elon threatened to strip Jacob of his badge and suspend him from the force immediately unless he agreed to undergo intensive psychological therapy. Watching their dynamic fracture was heartbreaking. Elon has always been a father figure and a mentor to Jacob. But in that moment, the respect and trust between them evaporated. Instead of breaking down and accepting the help he so desperately needs, Jacob went on the offensive. He aggressively accused Elon of being a coward. He screamed that the department was too scared, too weak, and too cowardly to face the real criminals tearing their city apart. Jacob's words were venomous. He essentially severed his ties with the traditional justice system right then and there. He vowed, with a terrifying calmness that chilled me to the bone, that he would execute justice himself. He made it crystal clear that he is willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means plunging into the darkest depths of the criminal underworld and becoming a sinner himself, just to see the Impaler fall. This brings us to a massive turning point for Jacob's character. I am genuinely terrified for his fate. What are the possibilities for a rogue cop on a vigilante crusade? Could he end up dead, gunned down in a dark alley by the very syndicate he is trying to dismantle? Could he end up behind bars, imprisoned for taking the law into his own hands and committing murder? Or worse, will he completely lose his soul, becoming a ruthless killer who is indistinguishable from the monsters he is hunting? I honestly believe we are watching the tragic villain origin story of Jacob Hawthorne, and I am not sure if Naomi or anyone else can pull him back from the ledge. But let us pause for a second, because there is a massive, glaring detail in this confrontation that we need to dissect. During their screaming match, Elon explicitly demanded that Jacob stop pursuing the Impaler. Elon framed this demand as a desperate plea for Jacob's own safety, claiming that the crime boss is too dangerous and that Jacob is too emotionally compromised to handle the case. My theory is that Elon's motivations are not entirely pure. Yes, he cares about Jacob, but the sheer panic in Elon's eyes when he told Jacob to drop the case felt incredibly suspicious to me. Why is the chief of police so eager to bury the investigation into the city's most dangerous criminal? Let us look at the facts. We know Joey Armstrong is preparing to meet the real boss of the crime syndicate, the Impaler. We know the plasma ring had deep roots in the community, even involving the hospital's former chief of staff, Dr. Leah Whitmore. The corruption in Fairmont Crest runs deep. So, is it really that much of a stretch to wonder if the police department is compromised too? I am officially putting my theory out there. I believe Elon Hawthorne knows exactly who the Impaler is. And I am willing to bet that Elon is actively hiding this information from Jacob. But why? Is Elon being blackmailed by the syndicate? Is he receiving a cut of the black market profits to look the other way? Let us go even darker with this speculation. What if Elon Hawthorne himself is the Impaler? Think about it. It would be the ultimate plot twist. Elon has the power, the resources, and the perfect cover as the chief of police to run a massive criminal empire right under everyone's noses. He knows all the police movements, which is why the Impaler has never been caught. If this is true, his demand for Jacob to drop the case isn't about protecting Jacob's safety. It is about protecting his own dark secret. If Elon is the Impaler, or even just a high-ranking associate of the syndicate, the tragedy of Jacob's storyline multiplies tenfold. Jacob is tearing his own mind apart, destroying his relationship with Naomi, and risking his freedom to hunt down a phantom, completely unaware that the man pulling the strings might be the mentor standing right in front of him. Imagine the psychological devastation Jacob will face if he discovers that his father figure is responsible for Derek's death. It would absolutely break him. And what about Darlene and Isaiah Hawthorne? If Elon is dirty, the entire Hawthorne family legacy will be dragged through the mud. The sheer dramatic potential of this storyline is off the charts, and I am practically buzzing with anticipation to see how it unfolds. Furthermore, I cannot help but think about the subtle clues scattered throughout the recent episodes. Why did Elon issue a public warning to the Impaler at the hospital press conference? Was it a genuine threat, or was it a calculated PR move to throw the public off his scent? Was it a coded message to his criminal associates to lay low because Jacob is going rogue? Every single action Elon takes now has a shadow of doubt cast over it. And let us not forget about Naomi in all of this. She has been watching her husband deteriorate before her very eyes. She sees the PTSD, the paranoia, the cold distance. If Jacob continues down this vigilante path, he is going to lose her. I am incredibly sympathetic to Naomi. She is trying to anchor a man who is determined to drown. If Jacob ends up acting on his violent impulses, Naomi might be the one who has to turn him in, adding a whole new layer of heartbreak to this already tragic saga. In conclusion, the writers of Beyond the Gates are delivering an absolute masterclass in psychological tension. Jacob Hawthorne's descent into madness, fueled by PTSD and an unquenchable thirst for revenge, is the most compelling storyline on daytime television right now. The commendation ceremony disaster, the terrifying near shooting of a civilian, and the explosive falling out with Elon have set the stage for a catastrophic climax. I am left with so many burning questions. Will Jacob cross the point of no return and pull the trigger on someone he shouldn't? Will Elon make good on his threat and strip Jacob of his badge, forcing him completely underground? And the biggest question of all, who is the Impaler, and what dark secrets is Elon Hawthorne hiding behind his badge? I cannot wait to see what happens next week. The stakes have never been higher, and I have a feeling that before this is all over, the streets of Fairmont Crest are going to see a lot more tragedy. Let me know your theories down below. Do you think Elon is dirty? Do you think Jacob can be saved? Until next time, keep your eyes open and trust no one in Fairmont Crest.